morning, you guys. If you have been following me for a while, then you know this is tradition in this channel. Every single year before the new year arrives, we do a very practical and deep life reset to get our life in order before the new year comes. However, before starting, I just want to say it doesn't matter when this video finds you. It doesn't matter if it's now before the year, if it's right when the new year it's about to start, or if it is after the new year has started. It doesn't matter when this video finds you. If this video finds you, it's for a reason, and that is that you're ready to transform and change your life. Now, before we start, I just want to talk about why I love doing this life reset at this time of the year, because there's a reason why I started this tradition. First, we're still in autumn. November, we're still in autumn, and during autumn, as you know, the leaves fall down, and that symbolizes letting go of what no longer serves us and making space for new things. And that is basically what we're going to do in a life reset. We're going to evaluate our entire life, our current situation, what's going on, what aligns with ourselves, what no longer aligns with ourselves, and how we can change things and make space for new things that we want. Also, you have probably heard a lot the concept winter arc. So when you combine autumn with a winter arc, it really makes the perfect moment to do a life reset. When you think about it, in nature, winter is a season of rest and reflection. As we just mentioned, in autumn, trees shed their leaves. That also takes place in winter. Animals go into hibernation, and it's a time to pull inward. And we're meant to follow that rhythm. And science actually shows that our bodies respond to seasonal changes too. During winter, our energy naturally pulls inward, so it's the best season to do some reflection, to clear out the mental clutter that has been piling up during this year, and to get intentional about the year ahead. So this is your personal winter arc, a season to pause, to refresh, and lay the groundwork for what's coming next. Okay, and last chat before we start with the practices of today, I just want to quickly mention why doing a life reset matters so much. When you don't do resets, when you don't pause and breathe and reflect on your life, that has an impact on our health. It may not sound so obvious, but it does. It's like our mind and bodies are carrying this invisible weight. We start to feel overwhelmed, sometimes even burnout. Our energy dips. Before we know it, we're just moving through motions rather than living our life with intention. So a reset, even if it's just a simple one, can change all of that. See it as clearing the slate so that you're open to new opportunities, healthier habits, and real growth. Okay, so the first step is to prepare for our life reset. So as I mentioned earlier, a life reset involves a lot of practices. It takes a lot of inner work, and we're going to really reflect and evaluate our life, so this can sometimes be a struggle. So the first thing that I always advise, first, let's clean up our space. You can do this later on if you want to, but for me it really helps, and I will dive into why in just a second. And then we're going to try and get ourselves in a calm and relaxed state. As I mentioned, we're going to do a lot of inner work, and if we are in an anxious state, it's going to be harder than if we try to be present in the moment and do it with intention. Clearing your home before a reset can be surprisingly powerful because it reduces both physical and mental clutter. When you tidy up your home and you clean, you're creating a sense of calm that helps you focus on your goals more effectively. So if before doing this life reset, your home is in a complete mess and not clean, I would advise you that the first thing that you do is clean and tidy it up. Studies have shown that physical clutter can increase feelings of stress and overwhelm. When our surroundings are cluttered, our brains process this as unfinished business, which can distract us and elevate cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. By clearing our space, we're essentially signaling to our brain that it's time to shift gears and focus. And also, I think this is a very easy, great step to get things started with a life reset. Another thing is that a clean, organized space allows the brain to concentrate better. Decluttering has been shown to free up cognitive resources, which makes us more efficient and focused when setting intentions or working on goals. The next thing that I advise you to do before diving into the actual reset is to create a space and energy that really supports reflection and grounding. Think of this as prepping the soil before planting the seeds. When we're in a calm, open state, we're so much more receptive to new insights and ideas. So first, let's make sure we're truly present here. I like to start by turning off notifications on my phone and setting it aside. We want this time to be distraction-free, a little gift to yourself. Creating calm is all about getting your mind and body on the same page. So maybe roll out a yoga mat, stretch a little, or try a few gentle yoga poses. This helps release any tension you might be carrying. If you're a fan of meditation, take a few minutes to just breathe or maybe light a candle and play some soft music to set the mood. Even a warm bath is a great way to ease into the reset because it helps lower cortisol, our main stress hormone, as I mentioned before, signaling to your body that it's safe to let go and relax. Something that it's really important to take into account when you're doing a life reset is your mindset. Let me explain. The thing about our brains is that they're actually wired to resist change. Our brain's main job is to keep us safe, and that often means keeping with what's comfortable and with what we know. So when we try to make changes, when we try to make shifts, it can feel like there is an internal resistance pulling us back to old habits. But the good news is there's always a way to get our brain on board. And one of the best tools is journaling. If you already practice journal, great. If not, then this should be on your list for a new habit for the new year that is to come. And there are a lot of different types of journaling. If I take myself as an example, I have my morning journal, then I've got my evening journal, and then apart from that, I have this little dotted notebook. It's completely empty, as you can see, with no prompts whatsoever, so that it is free for you to do whatever type of journaling that you want. The way that I'm using this is on a daily basis. I put the date, then I write how am I feeling that day, and then I write what is blocking me, what is making me feel down, it's making me feel stuck, and what are the little actions that I can do that day in order to feel great again. Writing things down not only helps you clarify your brain, but it also strengthens our neural pathways in our brain, reinforcing new positive thought patterns. And this is also why affirmations can become so powerful. When you're journaling, apart from journaling your feelings, what has happened, how you can improve, what things are in your way, it's also very useful to journal positive affirmations in order to help you change your mindset. So for instance, let's say that you're always trying to work out, but you have the mindset of I'm too lazy, or I'm too weak, or I cannot bother go to the gym because I know I will not do half of the workout, things like that. Try to change it into a positive affirmation. Today I will go to the workout, and even if it is for 5 minutes, I will do a great workout. When we consistently affirm our intentions, whether it is through writing, speaking, or even visualizing, we start to rewire our brain into believing those possibilities. Another thing that I want to say is that I use the Voss Health app. I think this is a really useful app for when you're on the go, or for those of you who are more of a digital users rather than paper. This app makes checking in with how you're feeling, journaling, and affirmations super easy and accessible on the go. Another thing that I really want to mention really quickly here is to stop making false promises to yourself, because if you have that habit, your brain will never believe you when you try to achieve a goal, and that really affects when we try and work on habits or changing our lives. If you're constantly telling yourself that you will not achieve something, your brain will not even try to put the effort in it because it already knows the answer. If a friend always tells you that they're going to be on time, but then they always arrive late, will you believe them the next time that they tell you that they're going to be on time? No, because they never keep up with their promises. It works the same way with ourselves. Every single time that you set a goal and you don't accomplish it, you're damaging your self-trust. And self-trust is everything when it comes to growth. When we're constantly telling ourselves that we're starting with our workout routine, that we're going to bed earlier, and then none of it happens, it's like sending our brain the message that we cannot be relied on. And over time, your brain believes it. So a little tip here. Instead of setting big, lofty goals, start by showing small commitments. Think of something that is super easy and that you know for sure you can follow through right now, in this very moment. Even if it's just, for example, I don't know, drinking an extra glass of water, or taking a 5-minute break during your work to just walk around. Something that is super easy, no effort needed, or super high motivation, something that you know you can actually do without problem. And each time you do it, you're building momentum. You're reinforcing that self-trust. And it's not about perfection, it's just about improving yourself day by little baby steps. At the end, you're working on yourself, believing that you are your own ally and that you're fully committed to your well-being. The next practice that we're going to do today is to reflect and really get clear on what we want. We're going to use two powerful tools here. One is the Wheel of Life, and the second one is a letter to our future self. Let's start with the Wheel of Life. It's such a helpful way to map out different areas of your life: health, fitness, relationships, finances, personal growth, and even spirituality. There's so many Wheel of Life exercises out there. You can go ahead and choose your own. I have put a workbook together just in case you want to get that instead. Each of these categories is a spoke on the wheel, and you're going to rate each area from 1 to 10. Take a moment to think about where you currently stand in each area. For example, maybe your health feels like a 7, but you like to see it at a 9. Or maybe your career feels strong, but your personal growth has been on the back burner. This exercise highlights what's working and what could use some more love. And don't worry if some areas feel low. This isn't about being perfect. This is about seeing where you are versus where you would like to get to, so you can make small, meaningful strides. Also, it's a way to provide you a clear vision of what you want to focus on the new year that is coming. The next thing is to write a letter to your future self. This one is the most powerful ways to set intentions because you're connecting directly with the person you're becoming. In this letter, I want you to imagine yourself a year from now, at the end of 2025. Picture what it feels like to be aligned with yourself. Picture what it feels like to have accomplished every single thing you want right now. How does your day-to-day look like and feel? This letter is a chance to write out all of your hopes, but also to offer encouragement and even a little bit of advice. Studies in psychology show that connecting with our future selves actually boosts motivation and commitment because it makes that vision more real. It's a reminder that the steps we take today are already shaping who we are becoming. And once you're done, you can seal it up somewhere safe. This letter is like a promise to yourself, a reminder of everything you're capable of. Keep it close, and whenever you need a little inspiration or guidance or just a reminder, come back to it. This is your vision, your purpose, and it's worth every bit of your energy and focus. So now, with a clearer idea where we're going, we're ready to take on this new year with purpose. Let's keep moving forward, one intention at a time. It is getting intense by the minute. We have done the Wheel of Life. We have written ourselves a letter that we will read in the future. So now it is time for the next practice, which is brain dump. Okay, so for this, I am going to take you through my Notion because that is what I do it. The way I do it is that for each aspect of my life, I have a category. And then I try to put everything that is in my mind into one of those categories. It's a to-do, it's an appointment, it's a feeling, it's something that happened, it's everything. It's not only about goals, habits, tasks, it's also about how you're feeling and any problem that you have with your own self. So let me just show you. So in my Notion, there's a little section for life resets. And at this time of the year, I go into my yearly reset, and here I actually have every single step that I'm mentioning in this video. I start with, meditation, turning off notifications so that we don't get distracted because we're focusing on ourselves. So it's a me time. So now it's brain dump. I've got personal goal, wish list, admin, Instagram. This is actually the categories that I have from my massive list. So in my Notion, I've got a list, a very long list, and I have named that massive list. And I have put the different categories in my life. So YouTube, Instagram, website, podcast, my house, personal goal, admin. And the way that I filtered this is that the status are either in to do or in progress. So I don't want to see anything that is completed, and also I don't want to see anything that is already scheduled because I know that I'm already taking care of that. So that's the way that I have filtered everything in my brain dump. So I'm just going to go ahead and reorganize things a little bit so that it's exactly what I want to see. Just start writing everything that I have in my mind that I just want to put it in there. This is one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to declutter your mind. Think of it as emptying a full cup so you can fill it with what really matters. Our brains have limited working memory, so when we are juggling too many thoughts, it can feel overwhelming. By writing things down, we offload this mental load, allowing our brains to focus better on the present without trying to remember every to-do or worry. Studies have shown that expressive writing, like a brain dump, helps lower cortisol levels. When we put our thoughts into words, we're giving ourselves permission to process and release them, which can lead to a calmer state of mind. Getting thoughts out of our heads and onto a paper often makes it easier to prioritize tasks and identify solutions. By seeing everything in front of us, we can approach tasks logically rather than emotionally, leading to a better decision making. At the end, brain dumping is going to help us release mental tension, and also it will reduce stress by giving our minds permission to let go of unnecessary thoughts. Once it's on the paper or in your laptop, your brain knows it doesn't have to keep holding on to it. And I love doing this regularly because it brings such a sense of relief, and it gives such clarity for the next step in our reset. Okay, and the next thing that I do is to actually evaluate everything that I have done in my brain dump. So here is a little table, and I've got questions that I ask myself. So why is this in my mind? What action can I do about this? What no longer resonates with me? What is out of my control? What can I do now that is the quickest, the easiest to just get it out? So I'm going to take my time now and answer these questions for the brain dump. Evaluating a brain dump with reflective questions like these ones help our brains process and prioritize information more effectively. When we do a massive brain dump, we may have written a lot of things, so we don't have to do an evaluation of every single thing. Maybe the ones that you think are more urgent or have a bigger priority in your life right now. When we ask questions like, why is this in my mind? We're engaging our prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for self-reflection and planning. This helps us understand what's truly important and separates immediate concerns from background noise. Questions like, what action can I do about this? Shift our brain from a passive worry state to an active problem-solving mode. This reduces anxiety by giving us a sense of control over our thoughts, helping to reframe them into manageable steps. And then also, from this type of reflection, like the question, what no longer resonates with you, is going to help us let go of thoughts or concerns that don't align with our current goals or values. This process is not only to clear mental clutter, but also supports emotional well-being by encouraging us to release outdated beliefs and worried. At the end, what we're doing here with this evaluation is redefining our thoughts, reducing stress, and focusing on what truly matters, on what is truly our priority, making it easier to move forward with clarity and purpose. The next step in this life reset is to actually reflect on what has happened this year. What has happened so far? Let's reflect on it, let's evaluate it, so that the next step, which is actually thinking about what we want for our new life, it becomes easier. So for that, I have in my life reset question prompts in order to be able to do this end of the year reflection. I've got questions like, what has been the highlight of my year? What has been the biggest challenge? What were my top goals this year? How well did I do in achieving them? And which ones did I not achieve? What got in the way? Are there any goals that don't resonate with me? Have my passions or priorities changed since the beginning of the year? I'm just going to go ahead and sit and just reflect. Reflecting your year can sound like a struggle, but it's key to growth. So we're going to evaluate what went well, what didn't, and what we learned along the way. Remember to go through the goals that you set for yourself last year, make a note of your wins. These are things that remind us of what we're capable of and what really works for us. Also, look at any setbacks or areas that didn't go as planned. Be honest but gentle with yourself here. There's no need to be rough with yourself. Think about why certain goals didn't stick. Did you have a system in place, like a habit or a routine that maybe could support you, or were there any habits missing that might have helped? This isn't about self-criticism, it's about understanding the patterns that are guiding us. Reflection like this is actually backed by neuroscience. It engages the part of our brain responsible for self-awareness, helping us recognize patterns and make changes with intention. When we know what's been holding us back or pushing us forward, we can move into the new year more confidently without repeating old cycles. So as you go through last year's highs and lows, ask yourself, what systems, habits, or routines made a difference? And what small adjustments could you make to support your new intentions for this year? This is all about gaining insight so you can approach the year ahead with even more clarity and focus. I think a little break is needed before continuing with the next part of a life reset. Also, I'm hungry. I don't feel like cooking. I think I'm gonna make a smoothie, and this is actually going to be like the first step into building the good habits for myself and continuing with my health journey. And also I'm going to take advantage and take my supplements because I'm still with the treatment of my Lyme disease. I cannot take the probiotics and the supplements at the same time. So in the mornings I just take my treatment and then later on I take my supplements. So as a reminder, I take the supplements from the brand Cure. I really love it because it's really personalized and individualized to your own needs. And then for the probiotics, which I think is extremely important for our health, I use the one from the brand Sid. Not only because they're sustainable and eco-friendly, but because of their science. It has 24 strains of bacteria, and also it has the probiotic, which is the food to keep the bacteria strong. Apart from that, this I already had it this morning in my water, but I have this superfood from Wild Nutrition. It's a mixture of 7 mushrooms and the amino acids that we need. And then from the brand Equa, I have my collagen with hyaluronic acid and then electrolytes. So yeah, but these three I normally have in water first thing in the morning. I really hope that you can still see me. It's so cloudy outside that my house is just becoming to be super dark. Maybe I should turn on some lights. Maybe it's better like that. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next part, which is a very big and exciting part of the life reset, and that is setting goals and the right systems for the things that we want to achieve in the new year. The first thing that I advise doing, it's a practice that I have been doing for a very long time, and it is to put a theme to your year. So for instance, my theme for 2023 was truthful, because I really wanted to put my focus onto being truthful to myself, staying true to my values and the person that I am. Then this year, 2024, my theme was to bloom. It really hasn't happened that way because I got Lyme disease, but the focus was really to bloom and expand myself and go beyond. The theme for 2025 is going to be thrive. And the reason for this is because a lot of things are happening in 2025. If everything goes well, I will finish my PhD. If everything goes well and as planned, I will marry my beautiful fiance and also be super focused after the PhD to building my own business. So I really think the word thrive explains exactly what I want to accomplish and exactly how I want to feel in 2025. So I'm going to go with that word. And there's something that I really want to share with you. There's actually a science behind this. It is called cognitive priming. When we select a word or a phrase that represents exactly what we want or exactly how we want to feel, we are creating a mental filter that is going to make us more likely to notice opportunities, actions, and also people that align with that intention. For example, let's say that you picked the word balance. You're more likely to spot moments where you could prioritize rest or say no to something that feels overwhelming. It's like a very subtle way of training your brain of what fits with your vision. So I think after all the reflection that we have been doing, after writing the letter to our future self, after having reflected on what worked and what didn't work in the past year, and I think you can have, even though we haven't set the goals specifically yet, I think you already have an idea of what you would like 2025 to look like. So take the time here to pick your theme, pick your word. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just something that feels inspiring and that is meaningful to you. Once that you have chosen it, you can write it. I don't know what you use in order to plan your goals, but if it's Notion, you can, 2025 goals and then the year where I will find balance, something like that. Keep it in a place where you can look at it very often and just let it guide you through the year. Okay, the next thing is to set our goals. So as we did with the Wheel of Life, you can look at each area of your life: health, fitness, finances, relationships, and really think of what is it that you want to accomplish. So myself, because of my Lyme disease, it's pretty clear. I want to focus on my health, and my health is my priority. So one of my goals is going to be to go back to my low carb diet, go back to my journaling, create my fitness routine. It's going back to waking up early. I've got lots of different goals that I want to accomplish regarding my health. You can put as many goals as you want. Make a list of all the goals that you want to accomplish in 2025. And something that you can do here that really helps is when you see a big goal, sometimes it can feel overwhelming to think how you're going to achieve that. So maybe a specific goal, you can break it into different parts. And I like visualizing a tree for this. So let's say your big goal is like the upper part of the tree. Break it down into the different roots. So let's see what smaller things you can do to slowly build up that goal. So in my Notion, I've got a little space where I put absolutely every single goal, and then I try to set the quarter of the year by when I want to achieve that goal. That way I don't get super overwhelmed of the amount of goals that I want to achieve. First of all, I always try not to put a lot of goals, because the more goals you put, the bigger the list. But I try to put like a small list of goals and then try to divide them into the different quarters of a year so that you're not stressed or overwhelmed, and of course, start with the ones that are your absolute priority. Maybe like 3 per quarter or something like that. That would be like my maximum. But yeah, Set your goals, maybe try to break them down so that they look like smaller and more achievable goals, and so that you have a clear direction rather than vague aspirations. Okay, now a very important part of setting goals is your systems. It doesn't matter how many goals you set, if you don't have a clear system, they will not happen. If I go to my Notion in my yearly life reset and I go to the goal systems, I've got a little table with the list of every single goal, right? And for every single goal, I'm going to go ahead and answer a few questions that is going to help me create my system. So first of all, how can I make this easy to do? What challenge can I create for this? When I mean challenge, I mean like something that is going to make it look fun. How can I make it motivating? So for example, let's say that every single morning you want to go to the gym. But right now you have no willpower, no mindset, and no habit of going to work out to the gym. Something that can make you go work out to the gym is preparing your workout clothes the night before. Or prepare your gym bag the night before. Doing these little things that is going to get you going to the gym easier, more fun, and more achievable. Those are the systems that you want to create for each one of your goals. If you have set a long list of goals, maybe just focus on creating the systems for the 3 top and the ones that are your absolute priority. Something that it's super important to do once we have set our intentions, mapped our goals, and setting up our routines, it's time to bring it all together into a detailed plan. And this is where we're going to get specific, going beyond setting dates and really focusing on what we're working on, how we'll measure it, and making sure it all fits into our daily life. I don't have the magical response, the magical formula for you to have the perfect planning. Every single person is different, so please just try to find your planning system, one that works for you, because what works for one doesn't mean it's going to work for another. So if I take myself as an example, for my bigger projects, I use Notion. I use Notion to keep everything organized. This is where I'll break down my major goals into steps and set timelines for each phase. This is where I have my life resets. This is where I track my habits, my doctor appointments, my blood tests. For instance, if I'm working on a big research project or planning out content, I'll use Notion to outline each step, mark key milestones, and keep track of any notes or ideas that pop along the way. Having a clear layout like this gives each project structure, so I can see at a glance what's next and what's most important. Once I've got my main projects outlined, I then break them down into monthly and weekly tasks. And for this, I like to use Google Calendar to schedule specific time blocks so I know when I'm working on what and can avoid overlap or overload. It's great for the big picture and for reminding myself what needs focus each day. So to keep things grounded on my day-to-day, I like updating my paper planners, the one from my personal life and my business and the one from my PhD, for the main tasks and intentions for each day. There's something about writing out that helps reinforce my commitment and keeps me motivated. Plus, it's a good way to check in with myself about what's realistic and what to accomplish each day. And then for my daily tasks, I use the structured app. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly do a health check-in. When we're creating a plan for our goals and our systems, our health and rest should be a non-negotiable. After dealing with Lyme disease, I learned firsthand just how critical rest and sleep are for our well-being. And it's not just about feeling more energized. Sleep and rest are fundamental for our immune system, mental clarity, and even our emotional resilience. When we sleep, our body goes into deep repair mode. Our immune cells recharge, our brain detoxifies, and our energy is restored for the next day. Research shows that when we don't get enough rest, our stress hormones, especially cortisol, stay elevated, which actually weakens our immune defenses over time. And I've seen how this plays out in my own health journey. So yeah, as I mentioned, I'm doing a very quick health check-in using my Vivo products. These are at-home tools to stay on top of things, and I love doing this little routine every single time that I do a life reset. Of course, this doesn't mean that I don't go to the doctor and don't go to have my regular check-ins, but I think this is a really good way to stay on track of your health and maybe notice something that you want to mention to your doctor on your next appointment. The next thing is to declutter, and we're going to declutter several things here, and this may be the one thing that you do not want to do, but trust me, once you do, everything gets better, I promise. So the first thing is closet declutter. For the wardrobe, I like to go through each piece and ask myself, does this fit my style? Does this fit my values and how I want to show up in the world? This process helps us connect with our own identity and clear out what doesn't align. Plus, it gives you a fresh, curated space so each item feels intentional. So I would recommend going through your wardrobe and seeing what you haven't worn in the last year and analyze why. If it's something like, for example, super fancy that you just didn't have the event for it, maybe you don't have to get rid of it. But if it's something that you could have worn quite easily but you haven't, maybe it's no longer supposed to be in your closet. Let's try to either sell it if it's something that is very, very new, or donate it to someone that may need it, rather than just tossing it away, so we can reduce waste in our planet. Next up is declutter of our desk setup. So this means going through papers, documents, and a pile of mail. I don't know if this happens to you, but I tend to accumulate my mail a lot. So I take this time of the year to grab everything and go one by one, making sure that there's nothing important that I'm missing, like any bills, any doctor appointments that I need to book, any legal paperwork from your home or your identity card, things like that. Every single time that I go through my entire desk and organize all my documents and my emails, I feel it's so freeing and like everything is in order. I always feel so much lighter once I've cleared out old papers or organized my digital files. A clean, organized workspace makes a world of difference when it comes to focus and creativity, and also you make sure that you're not getting into trouble with any important notices that you may have missed. I then go through my inbox to delete or archive old emails. Normally this is not as much as I do this regularly on a monthly basis, but yeah, try to go through your inbox and delete or archive any emails that you don't need in there. Think of it like hitting a reset button, creating mental space so you can tackle your new year with clarity and focus. And next, something that I always do every single year, and actually I do it a few times a year, is a social media detox. I would advise you to take a moment to go through who you're following and unfollow any accounts or people that no longer align with your values or direction for the year. I love social media. I think social media is an incredible tool for inspiration and connection, but it's easy to get pulled into content that doesn't serve us. Personally, I don't think social media is fake. I just think certain accounts and people are fake. So I always try my very best to follow people and accounts that are authentic and showing life as it is, and not try to lie to us. And studies actually show that we absorb the energy of the content we consume. So by curating a more positive, uplifting feed, we're helping to protect our mindset and energy. So because I love social media, I put a lot of effort into making sure that every single account and person that I follow actually aligns with my values and is exactly what I want to see. As you go through this, maybe you can ask yourself questions like, does this account inspire me? Does it bring me joy? Or does it make me feel anxious or distracted? When we're intentional about the content we consume, we give ourselves space to grow without unnecessary negativity or comparison. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying to follow accounts and people to create your own bubble and not be aware of what's happening in the world. I'm not saying that, because I do follow accounts that bring me awareness of what's happening. It's more of the type of the content and how they tell the message. Okay, so once we have done all of this, the next thing to do is actually a very fun practice, and it's visualization. This is where we take everything we have planned and turn it into something that we can see and feel every day. So our goals are never out of sight or mind, or maybe just create a space that you can go whenever you hit, rock bottom, or you feel unmotivated or a little bit down and don't know what step is next. So for this, I love to use the app called Milanote, and I use it to collect images, quotes, anything that visually represents my goals. Neuroscience shows that visualization actually activates the same brain network as real life actions. So it's like priming our brain to recognize opportunities for our goals. Remember, it's not just about achieving goals, it's about creating a life that aligns with who we want to be. So for this, I take pictures from Pinterest, I take pictures from my old life that already reflect the person and life that I want. And I try to create a very pretty collage with quotes and titles that represent the life that I want to create, the life that I want to live. And once this is done, I will put it in a space that I know I will see for sure. So for instance, the wallpaper of my laptop and the wallpaper of my iPad. These are things that I'm going to see every single day as soon as I turn them on. So it's like unconsciously working on my mindset into believing that I can accomplish all of those things, and at the same time just keeping me inspired and motivated on a daily basis. One of my favorite practice is to choose the book of the year. So the way you can see this is asking yourself the question, is there any struggles that you're facing at this very moment? It can be a goal that you're not able to achieve, it can be a health issue, it can be, I don't know, something regarding your relationships, any situation that you have in your life, whether it's a feeling, a goal, an appointment, relationships, whatever it is, any situation that you're not able to do on your own. And think of a book or look for a book that is going to help you out with that situation. When you choose a non-fiction book that aligns with a specific goal or intentions, you engage your neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. Reading stimulates the process by exposing you to new ideas and concepts, helping to reinforce the knowledge and behaviors you want to adopt. And then, apart from choosing a book that is going to help you from a specific situation, I would advise you to also choose a book that is non-fiction, so that somehow you're making space for you to disconnect and not only be focusing on working and improving all the time, because rest is incredibly important for our lives. For fiction books, the benefits extend beyond relaxation. Studies show that reading fiction can increase empathy by allowing you to step into characters' experiences and emotions. This emotional engagement helps regulate stress and support emotional intelligence, which can make navigating life's challenges easier. Something that I recommend is to have ready weekly, monthly and quarterly check-ins, and you can call this your resets. So in my case, I've got my Sunday reset, so this is my weekly resets, then I've got a monthly reset, then I've got my spring reset, my autumn reset, my mid-year reset, which happens in July for summer, and then my yearly reset, which is the one that we are doing today. This is going to actually help track our progress. These little resets that you have spread out through the entire year is going to help you so that the next yearly massive reset that you do for the next upcoming new year is not as intense. It's a very good practice to get your life in order, but it's also quite overwhelming and can be quite tiring, and that's why I always tell you that if you're not used to this, to do it in several days or several weeks, as much time as you need. But at the end, after this one, of course, life happens. We will have moments where we're not feeling well, when we're feeling unmotivated, when we really don't want to work on our lives, and having this little reset spread out throughout the year, it's really going to help us, not only with our motivation and with feeling well, but also making sure that we are directed onto the right path. It looks like the sky is clearing up a little bit, but it's still so cloudy and it feels like inside is so dark. Anyways, I just want to take a moment here to remind you that you do not need to do everything in one day. You do not need to figure out everything that you want to achieve in your life in one day. Take as much time as you need, days, weeks, whatever works best for you. As every single step that I mentioned, you can do it at your own pace. pace. That doing a reset is not about perfection, it's about honoring your growth journey. So give yourself time and give yourself space to make the small adjustments. Slowly create the path towards the direction that you need for your life. And try to celebrate every single progress that you make. Even though it's a very little tiny step forward, celebrate it, because that is you honoring yourself for having the courage and getting up every day and working towards the life that you want. You're exactly where you need to be, and every single step that you make forward, it's part of the journey to becoming the person that you want to become, towards becoming your healthiest, happiest version of yourself. So thank you so much for joining me in today's reset video. I am truly grateful, and I really hope that this helped you. Please share your experiences in our community or in the comments, wherever you want. And for anything you need, I am here. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!